Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to another edition of Saturday White Live.
All right.
My fearless co-host here, Blake Litton, Josh Thomas. Today we're going to talk about out of the woods, so kind of just an in-depth look at our house logs.
And how we get them from the forest to your house.
That's right.
Let me start off with our statement of beliefs. We at Saturday White Log Homes are Christians. We are not ashamed of our faith. We kneel to God only and to no man. We love America. We stand proudly for the pledge and for our national anthem. We are proud of our flag, our military, our law enforcement, and our first responders. We revere our founding fathers and our Constitution, and we will fight to the death for our families, our country, and our God.
Well said, buddy.
Thank you. Okay, out of the woods. Life is complicated, Josh,
That's right.
and house building is complicated.
Especially this year.
Unprecedented, I don't know, not changes, unprecedented times, of course, and the whole home building supply chain has been rocked from a national standpoint. I mean, prices are up, availability is down. I'm not going to get political, but I don't know if a lot of it's under
You're not?
Well, a lot of it I think is under the guise of COVID. I mean, yes, COVID's real. I get that, but you know.
Let's not go down there.
Yeah, whatever.
We know what we think.
Yeah.
So anyway, but let's talk about the benefits of how we do business, and we've touched on this many times before, but let's get really specific on how we're able to insulate ourselves to an extent.
Yeah, not 100%, but to an extent. What we like to do at Saturday White Log Homes, we like to produce and procure our own lumber. Of course, you know, we purchase all of our framing lumber and our sheet goods, but we try to,
as much as possible,
produce our own lumber to build our houses. And that way, we've insulated ourselves to a certain degree on price hikes and availability.
Now, you know, people are asking this year especially, you know, how is availability, how's prices? Well, you know, we've had a little effect on the price, but the availability is something we deal with every year at this time.
Right, yeah.
So let's kind of get into where it all begins.
Okay, so he said, he brought up a good point, this time of year, and it does seem like around this time of the year, every year, we're getting really short on timber because we can't get in the woods. I mean, our logging season at Saturday White Log Homes, I'd say, is at most 90 days a year.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think, we're logging these trees in the high Rocky Mountains.
10,000 feet.
Yeah, we're at the summit, almost the summit of these peaks. You know, summer up there. I mean, literally, we got the summer, and the summer is maybe 3 months.
Yeah, so here recently we've been shut out. We've got timber purchased.
We've got log decks.
Yeah, log decks on the ground.
Yeah.
That we haven't been able to get to because the snow melt hasn't happened yet. So, you know, all these ski resorts that you see in Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, those 8,000 feet, we're above those. We're at 10,000 feet.
Yeah, we're looking down on these resorts. Sam always likes to say that. We're looking logging and we're looking down on these resorts.
Absolutely. So that, you know, that kind of brings up the next point. Our logs are not just generic logs. These are something that you have to specifically plan for years in advance. What we're doing is we're buying government timber sales. You know, once these, we only harvest dead standing trees. I guess that's what the best place to start.
That's been our you know, cornerstone, whatever you want to call it, for forever.
Right. So, you know, the U.S. Forest Service, what they do, they're planning years in advance. So as they're seeing trees getting killed by the bark beetle epidemic or forest fires or whatnot, they're doing an inventory, and this is a rolling inventory, and they're saying, okay, these trees can be harvested 3 years, 5 years, 7 years down the road.
Yeah, because it's not doing them any good to have a forest of dead trees on the side of the mountain that could be a
fire danger.
A fire danger,
right,
for sure.
Exactly. So what they're doing is they're on a daily basis or a perpetual basis, they're inventorying these trees, and then as they see fit, they put these timber sales up on the market, and we bid on them. And so what we're having to do all the time is we're having to forecast 5 years ahead of time on what we think the log home market's going to be. So you can imagine that's pretty challenging.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, we've been doing it long enough to know that we've got a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
You know, stockpile some years, short on some years, but I mean, this year with the unprecedented demand, it's put even more strain on us. And you know, I think we got an email this week, somebody wanting to see if we were interested in coming to get logs off of their property for our house logs, and that's just not the logs that we can use.
That's a great offer, but we have to be very specific on where we're getting our timber, what kind of timber we're getting, It has to be dead standing, like we spoke of, and it also has to be accessible. I mean, we've been waiting for the snow to melt, so now you've got snow melting. The roads are terribly muddy.
Right.
It's just tough to get to because 9 times out of 10, all the timber that we're harvesting is inaccessible most of the year. So
right, and like I said, it's in a very specific place. So yeah, we appreciate your offers to do that, and to sometimes we can utilize local materials, but I mean we have a reputation as far as our house logs. Our house logs have to be dead standing spruce.
Exactly.
Not only for our reputation, but also for the build quality that we're known for.
Well, and I mean the dead standing spruce is going to give you the low settling. Low amount of settling and a very stable house log, as we like to say, nature's finest house log.
Well, and it's environmentally sound in the theory. We're utilizing something dead that normally wouldn't get a use out of.
And in that, we're cutting down on forest fires. So here's a great look at some log decks, and these are current photos. I take it, Danny, is that correct?
Yesterday.
Okay, this was taken yesterday. These are log decks that we're finally being able to access. The snow's melted. That's a pretty picture.
Yeah, so you can kind of see in the background, you see some more dead trees, either not part of our timber sale or we haven't got to it yet. So we're not cutting any of the green trees. We're just cutting the dead standing trees. So that's given us a very stable product. And
we've been waiting a while to see a log deck like that, haven't we?
Oh man, you guys don't know. Every spring, how forward we're looking to get the trees rolling into our Utah yard.
Absolutely. So there's a picture of a log truck rolling out, headed to right here it is, getting loaded. Going to be headed to our Utah mill.
Man, you can't beat that quality. Is that taken with a potato?
I was going to say, quality of that video, I actually think you can beat that quality. But this is taken off of a cell phone.
But it's still neat to see.
Yeah, it is neat to see. And it's exciting for us to see. And this is a controlled burn that they had close to one of our timber sales. Nick Satterwhite's up there, and he said it had all the makings of not being a controlled burn, but there were signs pointed everywhere that said, "Do not call. This is a controlled burn. We know what we're doing." So I guess we're just going to trust them on that.
Yeah, well, they're trying to be, economically or environmentally mindful in preventing something large scale in the future.
Look at that truck coming out of the smoke. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Man, we definitely are happy to see these logs rolling. We haven't had any problems with getting the timber. What am I trying to say? We hadn't had any problem. We didn't run out of timber. But
no, we didn't. No, it's just, it's the same thing that happens every spring. And like I said, this spring has been even worse. That we're getting low.
Yeah, we're getting real low.
And
now this is great news to see here. We're not going to be low anymore. And I think it was just kind of a trick deal where we had exceptionally high demand, low supply due to the snow and stuff like that. But now we're
how could we have known last year when we're trying to forecast for this year, much less the previous years, that how things were going to be this year and how tight it was going to get?
That's exactly right. So it was just kind of a collection of things.
And we use this wood not just because there's a lot of process that we have to go through to get this wood. We're not getting it because it's easy. I mean, it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. And it's not something you can just do spur of the moment. You can't just say, hey, we need, we're talking hundreds of tractor trailer loads of logs.
Right.
I mean, and that just gets us started. So I think that log deck we were just showing there I think it was guaranteed to be about 120 loads.
I think so.
But the thing is, you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you're going to get some really big timbers and you're going to get some small timbers, and not all of them can be used for house logs. They have to be used for a secondary product.
Yeah, they have to get individually graded. They have to get individually moisture tested, So that all kind of goes back to, man, we go to great lengths to get our house logs. We could get local pine, we could get local whatever to make our house logs out of. And some people do that and not knocking theirs at all. But we have a very specific idea and purpose when we set out to get our house logs.
Exactly. Quality, quality, quality.
Right.
And dryness. And that's what these dead standing timber logs are going to give you, is a very stable house log. So, Josh, what else we have today to add to this?
I think we're out of the woods.
I think we are out of the woods. Thank gosh. So happy to see that happening. It's just been one of those things, one of those weird years. And
yeah, we're happy every spring, but this one more than most. So, man, we appreciate you tuning in for another edition of Satterwhite Live.
I don't want to guarantee next week, but I think next week we're going to have some new on-site information or video.
We've been teasing this. You've been teasing this for a couple weeks now.
I know. Well, it's been also raining for a couple weeks.
Yeah, in our defense, it's been a very wet spring here.
We're trying to get a specific house to a spot we need. And
man, we got some cool stuff coming. When this comes together, I love it when a plan comes together.
I do too. And when it comes together, I think you guys are going to be really excited for it. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.